everyone, it's me, Tiffany Nunley. I missed you guys. It's been a while since we've talked. A lot has changed. I've kind of taken a little break a little bit. I'm celebrating today. Celebrating 2 years since the first video for Pink Shades of Evolution. I actually got that notification on Facebook yesterday and I was like, wow, I should celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that here I am 2 years later, still speaking to you, still talking to you about the matters of our hearts as women, and the evolution of Pink Shades of Evolution, the evolution of my videos. I'm actually speaking to you today for the very first time in the studio that I've set up in my home. So I am so thankful that you are still with me on this evolution journey. And I want to talk to you today about something that's been going on with me. My need to take a pause in life. And how can you determine if it's time to take a pause in your life? You see, I had been very busy for the last 2 years, especially in 2016. I actually took the time to, just sit down and put together a scrapbook that a friend had given me for Pink Shades of Evolution. And I said, wow, I've done a lot this year. And while that is to be celebrated and to be excited about, I noticed some things weren't right. And it looked like, strain in my relationships, from my husband to my girlfriends, just not spending that quality time that I needed to, and just really working, or multitasking when I'm with my friends, multitasking when I'm at dinner, I'm kind of on my social media and making sure I get that post up, or saying, hey, I don't have time, I don't want to do this with a friend, I am going to work instead. I'd rather work. And while working and accomplishing your dreams is very, very, very important, without your family and friends to support you, to be with you, to celebrate with you, to experience those moments with you, to live in that new space that you're trying to create for yourself, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And it wouldn't be that wonderful without them. So that's important. And this is actually the first sign that you can tell when it's time to take a break, when you start to neglect yourself and or your family and your friends. You see, our health is also a big indicator when it's time to take a break. Are you eating right? Are you tired all the time? Do you have headaches? Are you getting enough sleep? Your health will tell you quicker than anything else. And your friendships and your relationships, they'll tell you too, because people will start to speak up. I haven't seen you. I need more of you. So that's one sign. If you just look at yourself and you look at your relationships, you look at the quality of time that you're spending, you're looking at the quality of time that you're giving yourself. Are you taking breaks for yourself? Have you done something special for yourself? Is that a part of your routine? So that's number one. And then another thing that had happened for me is that although I was really busy, I didn't think I was as productive as I needed to be. And so I always kind of count that to quality and results. One reason why I took a pause, let me tell you this, this is one of the reasons why, but let me tell you that what was a visual indicator for me that it was time to take a pause is me taking a look at the last video I posted. And you can go back and look at that last video. Content was great. Production and quality was poor. So it was a matter of, hey, I have a great idea or a great thought, and I want to share that knowledge with my audience. But I went to the kitchen, I wasn't feeling good, I sat down and I turned the camera on and I talked. And although that is good, sometimes I looked at me and my brand and I said, this is not who or what I want to represent. And sometimes we're going to have to, one other indicator that it is time to take a pause is to take a look at yourself. Maybe you haven't turned the camera onto yourself like I did, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to look at yourself, look at how you are presently showing up in the world, in the way you dress, in the way you speak, in the way that you treat other people, in your contribution to the world. Are you measuring up with that which you want to be? Are you measuring up with your highest form of self? If you're not, then it's time to break. It's time to take a pause and reposition yourself. And then the third one is you feel dragged down by your goals. Are you working on something special? Or does it not feel special? Are you, doing a lot of things for a lot of other people, or you just doing a lot of work for your job, and you don't feel great about it? This is a question you can ask yourself every time you start a new goal. Am I inspired by it, or do I feel dragged down by it? That's a big difference, and that's a question I always ask myself. Am I inspired? Am I passionate? Am I excited? Am I telling people about it? Does it keep me up at night? Those are signs of being inspired by something or having a strong desire for it. Your desire for it actually is an indicator of whether or not it's an inspired goal, because you can't stop. You can't stop. It's something you think about each and every day. It's something that's so important to you. Your why is big. Your why matters to you. So my question for you, and a question to always ask yourself anytime you start a goal, is, am I inspired by this goal, or do I feel dragged down by this goal? If you feel dragged down by the goal, if the goal has been prompted to you by or asked of you by someone else, if you find yourself always doing something for someone else and not enough for yourself, or just meeting up to the expectations of others, they're not asking you, but it's something that you're running to do because that's what you've been told to do and you want to meet their expectations, then I'll say that might be a goal that you're dragged by, not inspired by. And it's time to take a pause. It's time to take a pause and think about what inspires me, and maybe immerse yourself. And I'll come back and do a video about how to be inspired again. But maybe immerse yourself in things that you love again. So pause and do that for yourself. And the last thing, and this happened to me, not getting traction. Not getting traction. It is so important, especially for entrepreneurs. But I believe in our lives in general, that we stop and we look at the results that we're getting in life. Because if we're not getting our desired results, then there is a misfit in our system with something that we're not doing there's something that we're not doing right. And so what I'll say to you, and this is what happened to me. Again, I was busy, but not necessarily production. I wasn't getting traction. I was putting a lot of messages out there, but I didn't see the results that I wanted to necessarily see. I had a lot of great things to say, but it's the system in which I put it out. It was time for a pause. Same thing, not just as entrepreneurs, but in my family. Assessing the quality of the time that we spend together. Assessing the conversations that we're having in our home. Is it just about your child? Or are you having those still meaningful conversations about life and about each other and about current events? Or are you just kind of being dragged and things are just kind of stagnant and you're just kind of going with the motions? You got to look at the results. You got to see if you're getting traction. You got to see if you are evolving. With everything, there's always a next level. There's always a next level, even if you're doing well. So it is important that as we inspire to do more and be more, and have that more, that we look at what we're doing, that we measure it on a regular basis. We have team meetings you go to work and you might have a team meeting every week. How often are you meeting with your family to assess how you're doing with your husband? Checking in with your kids. checking in on the business of your work, of your job, or if you're an entrepreneur, if it's not, I mean, it's still a job, but how often are you measuring that which you put out? What are your indicators for success? So again, you got to look at the traction. And if you're not getting what you want, you got to take a pause. And so these are the things that came up with me, and I took a pause. I took a pause, and it has been so rewarding, so rewarding. I'm going to come back next week and tell you exactly what to do during your pause.